All right. That took longer to get live than anticipated. How's everyone doing? The internet is somewhat improved from last time. Oh, this face cam is annoying me. It'll do, I suppose. So I got a new board in, and it's a pretty nice one. No prize for guessing which one it is, of course, since it's in the title of the stream, or in the title of the stream announcement at least. That reminds me, I do need to change the title. SOC Force LN2. What a long name. Yeah, but come on, it's just the board. The board is the main attraction here. Huff memory is pretty, but it's the board. So I've recently acquired this. What was the button for getting more exposure on this damn thing? Let me see. All right. Don't know if this is an improvement or a disimprovement, but at least I don't look at this two-faced anymore. Let's take the blinds down a bit as well. All right. Okay, that'll do. Right. Nice board. My benching room is a complete mess, but let's not get distracted by that. So, yes, I got a board in, and it's one that you may have seen the PCV breakdown on Billzoid's channel, which is nice, but I have the actual board here, which reminds me I do have to still change my Nightbot. What's the, let me just, okay, X5C is our BIOS version. I think I need to flash a different BIOS, but I just don't have it here right now. I just got the board 2 days ago, so daytime streaming has its own challenges, that's for sure. Okay, so what are we overclocking? We are overclocking. I liked the last session, which was the 7350K, but today we have an i7 8700K Carta edition. Our board, of course, is Gigabyte Z370 LN2. We're on our A0 Huff OC Lab edition. What am I going to be benching? Hopefully 32M. Cooling is chiller, of course. So yeah, so there's about, I don't know how many boards in the world. 20 of these, maybe 20 to 30 would be my best guess. And I've got one of them. As I just spilt my water. So I just got it in. Let's have a look through the BIOS. So we have our typical Gigabyte BIOS, which means you have your MIT section, which is the actual sort of overclocking section. So you've got our frequency, obviously BCLK, then two things that just don't mean anything. So graphics, who's going to overclock iGPU on this? Hopefully nobody. CPU upgrade, so you've got, interesting that they bothered to put 8350K profiles on here. That's nice. I wonder what the 5 gigahertz auto upgrade even does. Can I see what voltage is applying? No. Okay, so no CPU upgrade, please. That's pretty standard for Gigabyte. Enhanced multi-core is only if you're boosting, but I'm setting the clock ratio manually anyway. So here you've got your clock ratio, which, how high does it go actually? 80 is possible. 81 is the max. Not that we're going to get there today. So FCLK, for those who don't know, is something for 3 Mark 01. Surprising that it actually defaults to 1 gigahertz. Let's go 800 megahertz there. Let's start with 5G. Here's our usual turbo boost settings. And that reminds me, I do need to actually get an image going on one of my many bench drives. What do I not care about? Let's go with this one. Had a bit of a sleep in today, and it's almost midday because it took a while to get my microphone recognized by Windows again. Oh, this is my Windows 10. Okay, I can image over that. Yeah, so this is an engineering sample board for those who don't know. It never went retail. I'm not sure what flex ratio means actually. Oh, so Encore is under this menu. I haven't used Gigabyte in a while, I have to say. I used to have a Z370X SOC Force, but it died when I was running it on dice without installation. I used to have a Z77 board as well, but I think I sold that or it died as well under single stage. Let us max the power limit, of course. This is not like Aces where you can just put in anything. Should be able to do 900 surely. 1000. 1200. Okay, 1500. What's the max here? 2000. 3000. 5000. Okay, 5000 doesn't work. 4000 is okay. 4500. Okay, maybe 4000 is literally the limit. I need to find these things and put them in a profile forever. Nice to have. Okay, 4090 is the limit. Time, isn't this like 32 or like 128 or something like that? 100. Yeah, 127. So it's some sort of a binary integer job. Package power limit. Can we go 4,000 on this as well? Well, not 40,000. Okay, let's try 4,090. Yes. So this would be a 127 as well. 4,090. 127. 4,090. Not that it's ever going to hit that up, but I just want to set the absolute highest possible and forget about it. Not sure we need to raise the DRAM ones. So 255 definitely is not high enough. Oh, is that actually the limit? What are the options here? Just disable it. Here we can probably go 3 because we're doing SuperPi. Disable hyperthreading, disable speed shift, all of this stuff. And then I think I'm going to do a reboot. No downbinning. What's voltage optimization? Whatever this is, I don't want that either. Okay, actually I'll keep the core on auto for now. Just I don't want any boot failures. So guys, it may be a little bit late in the US, but it's the weekend, so you have no excuse not to stay up. So what are we going to call this? Baseline. So what, with the little bit of playing I've done on this board, whenever there's C codes, A3, A9, A6, that's nice, that's good. But if it's C1, C3, C6, that's sort of memory training stuff. A BH6. Okay, so I've restored my image. I just need to put my CPU Z on there as well, and actually GTL as well. So GTL is the overclocking utility for Gigabyte. So I'm downloading that, but there are buttons on here, right here, and those allow you to change the core ratio irrespective of drivers and stuff. But of course, we want more than that. We want like memory voltage control and that kind of stuff. But let's keep going here. Let's do, so that was frequency, and it is just XMP down here. Let's leave memory alone for now. So there is an entry here for real-time memory timing, but not sure if that's actually supported. Timing. So on Gigabyte, if you're not familiar, there's manual and advanced manual. Basically, the only difference between manual and advanced manual usually is that advanced manual lets you time the 2 or 4, in the case of a quad channel system, channels separately. So what you usually want is just manual. So then if you go into channel B, it will be grayed out because it's just following channel A. Voltage settings, power settings. So usually turbo is a good one, but I should actually hook up my fluke here. I've got one of these fancy expensive 17B plus flukes. So if I can make some space, and you can't see this, but my desk is so completely messy. I originally had planned to run 4-way GTX 680 Lightnings, but I was running into platform issues, so thankfully I got something else going, which is arguably even more exciting. Yeah, let's show this. So as you can see, we've got an entire host of voltage repoints here, and the first one is vCore. You just attach one of these little thingy bobs, whatever they're called, and then put your fluke in there. Maybe it's easier if I disconnect it first. I should also link you to the PCB breakdown video. Maybe it would even be helpful for you to watch that in parallel or after or something like that. Okay. It's actually goes in there the opposite way to how you would think it would go in. Let's maybe do it the fancy way. Like this. Make sure I don't cover up the postcode. This will just be a really basic stream because I literally just got the board, so I doubt I'll be able to get the memory going the way I want to. And ideally we want it out of the way of the ratio buttons as well. Yeah. So maybe like this. Yeah, looks good. That's good. Let's turn on our fluke to make sure it's really working. So it's reading 0.82 at the moment. Okay. And now as it's going through the post process, it's 1.27. So that will be the vid of the chip basically, potentially. Oh, someone died of being bitten by a shark in my state. That's sad news. Although not that surprising, given how many sharks we have around here. Okay, let's load our little profile again. Oops, and go back to checking out all the other. I don't usually do a bias walkthrough, but since no one out there, I mean, never say no one, but the vast majority will never get this board of you, so I may as well do a little bit of a walkthrough here in case there's anything exciting as I'm trying to do download here. Okay, so memory is the usual, nothing too exciting here. Voltage, so load line, as I said, usually turbo is good. Extreme is a little bit too high sometimes, but we'll check what kind of single core droop we get in 1M probably later on. AC to DC. Okay, so actually that we can leave on auto, but we'll do turbo for. That's really weird. So I get a drop down for this one, but there's no drop down for this. You just have to do plus minus on the numpad. Okay, turbo should be fine. VAXG is probably for iGPU. Stable, yeah, but I'm still not hitting top bit rate, which I used to be able to. I'm still hitting only like 2 megabits. D-Day documentary. Okay. Is it any kind of particular like anniversary or something, or just random? V Corp protection. Okay, so what's going on with the CPU? I think I need to tighten my block a bit more. That's concerning. This is a good chip. Helps when you connect both quick disconnects, doesn't it? Okay, let's watch that drop. Okay, so it's actually off screen, but it was showing 89 degrees. Okay, now it's showing 19 degrees, so that's all good. So what's this protection stuff? I don't know actually. Let's keep it on auto. Current protection, obviously extreme. You can go extreme on the DDR as well, even though that shouldn't really matter. Switching rate could be interesting to increase that. Oh, 1500. That's a really good switching rate. It's not getting that hot. I'll keep it there. Phases, we want all of them on. Extreme performance. Actually, let's just keep this on auto. I don't think it's going to make a massive difference. Even though I think switching rate is good to keep that on full, because that will give you a good idea of LLC, because if you measure droop on a certain switching rate and then actually use something else for LN2, then that's not really great, because it'll change. Okay, so here we have system agent and all that. That's yeah, okay, so that's basically all the voltage regulators on the board. A lot of this you'd have to keep completely on auto, I think. So nice thing here is I think you can go up to 3 volts on the, even more than 3 volts. What about 4 volts? 3.5, 3.1, 3.0, 3.04 on the RAM. Nice. Hey, Hardware Barbecue, how are you doing? Your stream stalled. Yeah, possibly on your end. Okay, so I'm not going to do that, but good to know that it's there, because I'm actually on the Apex. So, couple of reasons why I got this board. Right now, I have a broken Apex 10 that I bought for cheap, and I hope to get fixed. Maybe Cold Wove, who lives in my city, will help me, because he's got a lot more hardware knowledge than I do. But I basically have an Apex 10 that is throwing CC, no matter how many sticks of RAM are in there. The previous owner had liquid metal go in the socket, but I'm hoping to repair that at some point. So that was my only, socket 1151 version 2 board. And given that current boards, even for Z490, now correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, Z390, Z490, and X570, and I guess B4550 as well, all of the current boards do not have 4-way SLI. But this board has 4-way SLI, and the Apex 10 has 4-way SLI, and I want to keep 4-way SLI capabilities into the future, and it seems like this will be the last socket that will ever support that. So I need to have options. So from that perspective, it's good to have 2 different boards from 2 different vendors. And my 8700K will do nicely for that. And then obviously I also got this board because it's a cool board. It's a rare board. So you've got your termination voltage. Should be able to go down. Ooh. Now that is a limitation. You can't go below 1.1. Hopefully there's a better BIOS for this, because yeah, unless I'm misinterpreting this, but this is VTT and it won't allow you to go like 0.9. So when on auto, this voltage goes how many gigawatts? Yeah, I know the Apexes on for the mainstream Intel socket, the Apex 10 was the last one. I'm just talking in terms of like out of the box kind of thinking, maybe there's an MSI out there or something. I guess you could hack the godlike X570 to do it. Yeah, I do have a Rampage 6, but that's the big platform. So that's the other consideration. I want two working boards on the big platform and 2 working boards on the small platform, because there's certain benches you need the big well, now with the 10900K out, arguably there are no benches. Well, since there's no board for the 10900K that will do 4-way, yes, you still need the big platform for things like Vantage, Time Spy, Fire Strike. Those are the big ones. 3D Mark 11. Even though you can probably do pretty good on a 9900K in 3D Mark 11 and Vantage. But certainly things like Time Spy Extreme, they go well on the big platform. But on the small platform, that's for the high frequency stuff. So 3D Mark 01, 03, 05, 06. And Unigine Heaven, Basic and Extreme. Yeah, but the thing is 4-way. I'm talking 4-way. I know the 10900K is like the best thing since sliced spread, but that's only for 1 and 2-way systems. So okay, so that's pretty normal. It's PCH core, CPU core I haven't looked at yet. So V core, I think it goes up to 2.5, which is obviously completely insane, but that's good to have no limitations there. BCLK adaptive I usually turn off. Graphics on auto. So now I'm not familiar with Gigabyte LN2 voltages. I'll have to text some guys I know who have this board as well. No, hybrid barbecue, that's not right. So X99, I mean obviously X79, X99 supported 4-way. X299 supports 4-way as well. So I have the board here actually at the moment. So with Kaby X, you're correct. It doesn't support 4-way. But Skylake X 10 core and above, because actually they did this funny thing where the 6 and 8 core Skylake X didn't have enough PCIe lanes for 4-way. But the 10 core, which is what I have, the 7900X, does support 4-way. So here you go. 4 full length slots, 8X, as my internet goes to shit. So yeah, that does support 4-way. Please come back, internet. I haven't even started overclocking yet. So X299 supports it all the way to, I guess you could go all the way to 10980X. I don't know if the really big platform, the 28 core Xeon, supports it, but that's kind of insane. Internet, please, yeah. So X299. So basically, current gen high-end desktop on Intel side does support it. You just have to use a slightly older board, because I think the latest like Apex Encore, whatever it's called, went down to only 2 or 3 full-length slots. No, X99 does support it. I have a SOC Champion. Yeah, but Like I said, the Xeon platform is just so esoteric, I don't really count it. But yeah, it does support it. So on HEDT, you're good. On mainstream Intel, the last one to support it would be basically this board or the Apex 10. On AMD, the situation is a bit unclear. I think the Godlike, the X570 Godlike, you might be able to hack it into that, but there's only a few benches where AMD can compete, like 06 and Vantage. It's kind of close, especially with the 3950X. But yeah, I wouldn't bank on that. Okay, let's continue here. So yeah, some of these voltages are LN2 voltages. I just don't know enough right now, but I will very soon. Please let me download this goddamn thing. I'm trying to download something from someone else's G drive and it's not cooperating. So just PCH on here, that's not exciting at all. Let's check our temps, 19 degrees. So system, that's just not much going on there. I like the fact that this is a really small thing, but I actually like the fact that Gigabyte defaults to num lock on because Asus, for whatever goddamn reason, doesn't. Not sure what my speed is all about. CSM on, Pixie Boot. Ooh, legacy. I guess I need to set it to legacy to get my XP to boot. So let's attach that XP, see how we go. Boot it once, and then immediately remove it again and add some utilities on there. Okay. Yeah, thanks all for coming on stream. This is a little bit weird timing. Oh, Ginger, you're here. And you can't see this, but memory is defaulting to 1900 megahertz for some reason. That's weird. Okay, let's disable all our peripherals as well. PCIe slot 1, that's nice that you can actually specify. On Asus, for example, you can just pick between PCIe and iGPU. RGB is nice on this board, I have to say. So let's keep that on. Ethernet. Kind of just turn it off. As media. I need to connect my SATA. So that's IDE. That's nice. There's no off-board SATA. Whatever this is, I'll just disable it. BIOS card, no idea what that is. Network stack disabled. NVMe, nothing attached. Legacy USB, we do want that. SATA controllers. Where's my S media on this board? I might have to sort of bin through SATA ports to get the right one for Windows XP. LAN off, HBT off, don't know what this is, audio off, virtualization off, graphics off. Yeah, I think if you want to see anything else in this BIOS, give me a shout, but I think that's pretty much all we need. Now let's reboot and see if we can get into XP. Yeah, so I mean, it's a conscious decision, right? Like mainstream is clearly going away from multi-graphics for many reasons. Okay, so let's give that a reboot with the little button and see if our storage is actually being detected. Should be under here. Yes, so Kingston is in the SATA 3. Still tell you how much of a noob I am. Let's set everything to legacy. Okay, so even though the SATA ports are not color coordinated, clearly the top 2 are on as media and the bottom 6 are on Intel. So I need to swap to the top 2 and then go into BIOS and make sure that we're getting detection. And then because the as media has a native IDE mode, so that should work. Nice crisp reboot speed here actually compared to Asus. Let's go back to as media. Empty. Maybe there's another stack of SATA somewhere else. Let's have a quick look. So our Kingston is detected. Let's have a look to see how these are numbered actually. Now it's saying it's not connected anywhere. Okay. Let's try port 2. Yeah, a little bit strange timing on my stream this week, but on Wednesday, which is my day off from my day job. So Kingston is showing up here. I actually went to a national park for a few hikes. Oh, it's showing blank. Maybe that's good enough. Maybe I can boot off of it now. What's our code? A2. Okay, let's make sure it's definitely not connected. Like I said, I need to bin through SATA ports. Let's try bottom. Insert a boot disk into the floppy drive. That was a long time ago. All right, let's kind of do a little bit of a process of elimination kind of thing here. Let's boot a Windows 10 first. And make sure that our cable is good, port is good, all that sort of thing. Good times. Okay, let's switch. This should be the as media, so let's switch it from IDE to AHCI mode. RTFM. Not sure there is a manual. There isn't even a product page for this board because it's an engineering sample. Okay, so UEFI. Ah, see, now it's being detected, but with a weird string there. No, I mean, I know that the XP image I have works on this platform. That's not the concern. It's more that I don't know how to set up the BIOS to boot from XP. What is going? Oh man. Not much. Just got a new board in, so I'm giving that a go. The hell? Okay. Maybe in these kind of cases you just clear CMOS. See what happens on a fully cleared CMOS. Oh, 04, 62. Let's try another disk, as I have enough lying around. Windows 7. I hope the storage controller isn't dead. That would be somewhat unfortunate. Make sure it's being detected. See, it's trying to boot straight, but it actually needs to go from the boot manager. Let's try that again. Yeah, but Carta has had quite a few 8700Ks, so don't assume that any of his subs are actually on this exact chip. But yeah, this was pre-binned by Carta. A couple of streams ago, it did 7 gigahertz legacy 3D. How's the oh, Snoop Dogg? There you are. Okay, so we have a boot on Windows 7. That's some sort of progress. I still need to be able to download this goddamn GTL though. Okay, so we have a mouse. We have ZBUZ 1.92. Now let's just give the hard buttons a go. I think you can see that it's decreasing the ratio. It's really nice to have that without drivers. That is epic. So we are on a slightly older BIOS. Not necessarily a bad thing on an 8700K, but if I were to get a 9900K, which admittedly I'm nowhere close to, because what usually happens with Intel is the top end chip on the previous platform stays expensive for a long time. So what we need to see is 10 nanometer. I think once 10 nanometer is out, I have no idea when that's coming, but then you'll start to see a slight drop on the 9900K. But right now it's bad value, because you can basically get a 10700K for better, and it's the same chip essentially, maybe even better IMC and stuff. All right, so Windows 7 is booting up for me. What I might do is maybe I'll just get a different, what do we want to do? Let's restore the Baribone XP onto a different disk in case we have a dead disk. Okay, GTL is downloading now finally. What's happened to good old where is it? What's happened to good old Google Drive? It now asks you to navigate away from the page in order to download, which seems like a mistake, and your browser warns you against it. Okay, where's our fan? While we're doing that, we can maybe just try and tune the memory ever so slightly. I don't have high hopes in getting 4000 C12 running just like that, but let's load our baseline again. What's the max on this kind of thing actually? Okay, clearly these multipliers are just completely arbitrary. Let's shoot for 3600. Auto timings for now. And just 1.8. Let's see how we go there. You see, once you see the C codes, you know you're potentially in trouble. Those are the memory training codes. And it hangs on C1. Maybe it just doesn't like this kit. I'm gonna try a different kit. Unless it now reboots and works. Yeah, that didn't work. I would expect that to work at 1.8. So let me just find my G-Skill kit. Sorry, Galax. Yeah. Should probably shut down the system before I take out the RAM. Always a good idea. Yeah, let's see how we go now. Let's try to apply the same thing. I'm just trying to do 3600 auto timings at 1.8 volts. Which, yeah, this is like what I was experiencing the other day as well. It just doesn't seem to want to set memory. Something else we can try is load the XMP profile first and then the memory. So Carter, you should have VIP now. Okay, so we'll go auto. And what we'll do is apply XMP. At whatever, at 2133. And maybe it needs to set voltage separate to mult as well. Rip pretty memory, yeah. So what are we getting now? See, now we're getting 62. See, now we don't have the C codes. Okay, let's try 3200. I did get it up to 4100 on the other kit. So now there's the C codes, but it's transitioning into the 30 codes pretty early on. So it's doing a little bit of training and then posting 62. Whereas if it just loops and loops through the C codes with normal, what do you mean normal? What do you mean by normal? As my display pass-through has died for some reason. Okay, let's try 3466. Yeah, that seems to be posting as well. $62. Maybe maybe it was just too loose. Come on, pass through display. Why are you dead? Oh, there we go. All right, I'll save that as a baseline. And now let's see what our storage situation is. So vertex is detected. We can try and boot. We're not in the what is it called, as media controller, but maybe it'll try and boot off of that anyway. Ooh, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Windows XP. But the trouble is, this is a completely empty Barbona image. I thought there was a CPU Z on here, but it seems not even that. That's okay though. Okay, I'm gonna take a note of what SATA we're on here, and I'm just gonna. Usually on these images, the USB drivers are stripped, so I'm gonna have to just transfer over everything I need: GTL, CPU-Z, SuperPi, all that stuff, just using USB to SATA on my laptop in front of me. So that's okay. XP 32M, Z370 LN2. This is already more than I hoped for. So what do we need? We need GTL and we need CPU-Z. Extract. Exciting stuff. I'm excited. Are you all excited? We have RAM clocking somewhat. And we have XP booting. What a time to be alive. Party. I mean, it's benching optimized for sure. I don't know why my mouse is screwed like that, but actually I want to use this opportunity to move this to the correct location. So the zipped version can go screw itself. We want SOC mode on. This mouse speed is annoying. Can I maybe just maybe do something about it? It's already the fastest possible. Okay, I do have some hard buttons on my mouse. It's still annoying. I mean, it's still completely annoying me, but I think it's somewhat acceptable now. This is exciting stuff, guys. I can't lie. Ah, screenshotting utility is what I forgot. Even though I don't expect to be saving any runs from this. Look at that beautiful, what is it, 8-bit color or something? Now let's try the hard buttons again. Ooh. Beautiful. And now the even more exciting part will be getting GTL running. No, do not ask before running. Sweet. Could you ask for more than this? You could have asked for the system serve is not dying, but no, I actually don't want that. I want this. Oh, that fidelity, yes, indeed. Okay, I think selecting XMP helped us a bit here. What I'm going to do is, I'm still a bit worried about the fact that I can't reduce termination. Ooh, okay. I don't know what was going on earlier, but I can set a decent termination now. So what I'll do, I don't know what this kit actually likes, but something like 0.95 at 1.95. There's still some sort of weirdness going on here. Oh no, it just moved automatically. Okay, I'll just give it a quick reboot. So it's still happy with that. Let's try 3600. 4C, yeah. When it goes from 4C into the 30s, that's good training. Yeah, they are tied together. I just that just confused me for a microsecond. Oh, hanging on 9C on the boot screen though, that's weird. Maybe I just was mashing delete too much. Let's try that again. Okay, I didn't intend to boot Windows here, but let's just make sure that it really applied. Okay, that's fine. Weird. All right. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Okay, let's do one more quick reboot just to make sure those changes apply properly. What gigaboards have you been using, Carta? I think you use Gigabyte for some Gigabyte comps, like an ITX board, right? For like some sort of a low clock or something, low clock challenge. I'm not liking the fact that there's some random post problems going on here, but it does seem to recover with just pressing the reset button. All right. So last thing to check is to see if that system service exception was just a random thing or it happens on starting GTL. So let's open GTL. GTL is a thing of beauty because you get hotkeys. So you've got your three hotkeys down here, and you can essentially put anything that's in GTL onto these hotkeys. So you can do a run, let's say Geekbench, and Geekbench 3 is well known for having a set of tests at the beginning that are much lighter than the tests at the end. So you could set a hotkey that changes everything, that changes BCLK, vCore, core multiplier, even things like RAM voltage, and you just hit it at the right point in the test. So that's pretty cool stuff. And obviously for 3D, that's really relevant as well. So I just want to, the only thing about it is you need to untick this stuff because otherwise it might set stuff that you don't want. A 0 AVX offset, that's nice too, that's available here. Let's just quickly have a look to see if we have proper BCLK control. Yes, so that's good. Back to our memory, 3600, that's nothing to write home about, but aha, single channel. That is definitely a concern. What I'll do is I bought some magic spray recently. So I was about to run out. This was my last bottle of so-called magic spray. So I went to JCar and I got a nice mass discount for 4 bottles of magic spray. So here we go. Not gonna run out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna magic spray my sticks and also change the stick order because I think the board didn't have a problem. So this is going to be my inside stick. So I'm going to put it on the left, and this is going to be my outside stick. Let those dry, and I'm also going to spray the actual slots. So while we're letting that dry, let's have a look at some of the scores. So I think I'm on the X5C bias. Oh, this was the PCB breakdown video, by the way. Let me link that in chat. Well worth looking at. So yeah, Billy goes through just everything here. So you've got your 3 M.2s, even though it's an ES board, but he still manages to talk about everything here. Ooh, okay, so let's not get distracted by that. We want the hardware bot link. There we go. So this is the board. One thing I'm going to do just to troll Jordan is get this reference frequency score here, because 320 on KB or on coffee, I mean 400 should be possible. So of course the top score really that's been produced on here is DNOS's at the time 32M record on a 7.4 chip. So let's have a look at this. And that was on X6B, so bias that's 7 or 8 months newer than this, so that maybe that's kind of the reason I have these issues, is that I'm just on a bias that's a little bit too old. I haven't checked the other bias position. I won't bother today. So there were a few other scores though. There was 3Mark03. This is a more recent score. Yeah, please watch it. It's good to support Buildy, but it's also educational because this board is something a little bit special. So this is an all-out, well, GPU on water, but essentially an all-out score. It doesn't show the bias though. Let's have another look at what else has been produced on this board. So there's a 1M. Also no bias. Geek. Do I want to look at the Geek? Let's have a quick look at the Geek. Such a troll, always hiding his tabs. Maybe let's look at the second best 32M. Well, not zeros. Jordan's. It's also a 7.31. I don't think he usually hides his bias. So X5D, slightly newer bias than what I have. Okay, so are these sticks? Yeah, they've dried. So changing the stick order. Let's have a look. It's fighting through the C codes. Is this where the channel drops? We're on to the 30s now though, so it's showing 16 gigabytes of RAM at 3200 though, so I'm not sure what that's about. Let's go back to 3600 and again check how much RAM we have. Okay, still showing all the RAM, but for some reason the multi isn't applying. Okay, 3866, surely this is possible. Ooh, it's starting to fight through the postcodes again. 4C, almost there. Okay, well, that's okay. Let's clear CMOS, and we can just go like 3200 C12. I don't really care. I suspect the bias. I just want some sort of reasonable dual channel memory setup, and then I'll see whether I can, for example, pass 5.6 gigahertz 32M. Come on. There's that RGB again. C1. So what does everyone think about the LGA 1200 launch? Are you impressed? So it's showing all my memory. Oops. We want to go to 3200. It seems to be posting. Okay, let's try for a bit of 12, 12, 12 goodness. Everything else on auto, just one command rate. And we want, what do we want for TRFC? Like a 2 to 80 is somewhat respectable. And the refi just max it out. Oh, you have to key it in manually, do you? There's the max. Starting to hunt through the postcodes again. Yeah, this bias is fucked. This is not the right bias. Let's do some LN2, well, core testing and LSC testing instead then. I think I'll boot 1.45 on Turbo LLC and see how our I suppose, I mean, there is dual BIOS on here. Maybe later, if I have the chance, I'll look to see what's in the other dual BIOS, the other BIOS chip. But for now, I just want to get benching. An hour and 19 minutes into the stream. Yeah, let's just do auto everything and .45. Are my peripherals off actually? Okay. Yeah, I purchased it. That's all I'll say about that. Okay, this seems to be easy. Okay. We're in OS. Exciting stuff. So our vCore is not displaying correctly here. It's still just showing the vid. Yeah, these are deplorably loose timings, but hopefully you can forgive me for that. Ooh, I think, well, there's still some sort of energy saving thing going on here, so that I do need to turn off. I think I need to just turn off turbo. Let's fix it at 5, I guess. And 5 for the encore as well, to be honest. Turbo disabled. I think that's how you do that. Well, okay, so first of all, the only way of getting 4666 C14 on regular Coffee Lake is, as far as I'm aware, is an Apex 11, and that's a 600-700 Aussie dollar board. No, I'm not going to do that. For the 4K 4K-C12, yeah, this board can obviously do it. Just not on the right bias for it. But since I only just got the board 2 days ago, I'm happy to do some other testing for now. Obviously on LN2 I would be doing 4K12. Okay, so let's use our hard buttons here just to show off a bit. So that's 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, 5.6. Set priority and affinity the old way. I don't know which core is best. Let's just try core 2. I don't like this always on top option actually. So we're on 5.6. Not sure why the memory utilization is so high. 53 megabytes, that's a lot. I might have to mess around a bit with this OS. But okay, let's give it a 1M. And actually let us do some voltage monitoring. So I set a 1.45 in bias with turbo LLC, but my reading is showing 1.44. So that's a 10 millivolt discrepancy. And under load, I'm seeing a droop of about 1 or 2 millivolts. So that's all right. Okay. Interesting. It's already a surprising result, to be honest. How would 5.7 go? So here's 5.7. I'm not going to bother with well, just keep it consistent, even though this is silly given how badly badly tuned the RAM is. Okay, let's try 5.7 then. Not exact. Let's go back into GTL and give it a little bit more. Yes, Z2. So the Gigabyte LN2 boards. There was a Z87 LN2, but it was a unicorn basically. There was a Z97 LN2, which was technically retail for just a day or something, just so that non-elites could use it on HyperBot. That's quite common actually. That's easy-ish to buy if you're willing to pay for it. There was a Z170 LN2 that was ES, but it got a reasonable amount of exposure. The 270 was neither good nor widespread, and then the 370 sort of in between. In terms of availability, probably somewhere in between the 270 and the 170, but in terms of how good it is, I like it. Ooh, so maybe this is more of a quantization sort of issue, because GTL is actually showing 1.44. So let's go 7.5 and apply that. So at 1.475, my Fluke is showing 1.475, but with a little bit of load, I would expect it to drop another 2 millivolts or so. Everything pops up on the forums every once in a while. So let's see, yeah, 5.7 on what's my chiller even set to? I don't know. So the chiller is on 20 degrees, so I just set it down to 14 degrees. It'll take a little bit of time to chill down to that, but that's okay, I need to clear the cache files. That's an encouraging sign, because that means that maybe with a little bit more temps, I can get 5.7 going. Nope. And I can obviously core bin as well, so maybe this core 2 isn't the right core to be running on. I could try and down core to 2 cores as well. Oh, 62 16K, that's pretty sweet. Dark Gregor, okay. Okay. Let's just wait for it to chill down. And while I do that, let's have a look at Dark Gregor's sub actually. So, knowing what I know about this chip now, from having run it on LN2 once, I would say that 7.14 is within reach for 32M. Let's have a look at the rig picks as well. So Apex 10, Cooler Master, PSU. Sorry, I just need to text someone. Yeah, just using a piece of foam as a like an open bench table. OC panel connected. using the PCH for display out. That's interesting. Some Galaxies on there, Venom, which is a good pot to have, and Smurf paste. Looks like a long session there. And now let's look at the score. So yeah, 7.14 at 1.92 I can pretty much do, I think. Actually, is this a U-stepping? I don't know what a U-stepping even is, but just randomly noticed. Okay, U0 as well. Okay, interesting. The 1801 bias is known to be good. Yeah, but okay, Sparky. A2 versus A0. Yes, A2 on all current gen platforms is the best, okay? But this is not a current gen platform. The only board that retroactively with BIOS patches was optimized for A2 is the Apex 11. Now, the Apex 11 was like a mid-generation update board. So the only thing it does that the Apex 10 doesn't do is A2. So I'm not going to spend $600+ right now. Maybe, you know, in a couple of generations time when the board gets depreciated, I might get an Apex 11. I'm not saying I'm never going to buy an Apex 11, but the only way that's known, you know, tell me if I'm wrong, but the only way that's known for to run Coffee, obviously Comet Lake or whatever the new one's called, MSI ITX boards. Yeah, but then okay, let me have a look. What is it? Z390. So how can I just go into their motherboards? Support news. No, I just want to. Okay, let's search for ITX then. Yeah, that's true. What's his face? Alva ran this, but you've got to realize too, right? You start running into all kinds of issues as well. So what makes benching bearable, let's say, is what you need is a postcode. I'm not saying these are all mandatory, but they're really, really nice to have. A postcode display, PS2 mouse and keyboard, XP support, a clear CMOS button on the back panel I/O, and then a BIOS flashback button, ideally, and then, you know, power and reset buttons. This board has none of those things. It doesn't have PS2. It doesn't have any inbuilt buttons. It doesn't have postcode display. It doesn't have a clear CMOS button. So yeah, I mean, I could go off and buy this board specifically to run A2 on Coffee Lake, but it would be utter hell. And it also has a really small VRM, so you'd have to have active cooling on your VRM all the time and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not saying that this wouldn't work, but you have to admit that there are severe limitations going on here. No postcode display, just using those little colored LEDs is insane. So I've looked into issues of, you know, I've looked into maybe bifurcating the 16x slot and giving 8x to graphics for the dedicated display out, so you don't have to use the iGPU, and 8x to a postcode display. But very often when a board doesn't have a PCI slot and only has PCI Express, it doesn't actually expose the postcodes through the PCI Express. So yeah, then you're completely hosed. Anyway, let's try 1.5 vCore. Yep, wrong one. There we go. It's a 1.5 V core. It's reading 1.497 on the Fluke. Let's see how we go. Let's clear our benching files again. Oh, they are clear. Well, that's nice. No, I have to go into the actual folder. Ooh. This is nice. This is actually very nice. Okay, so more vCore did help, and a little bit of colder. Let's try 32M then, even though this is going to be a horrible score, but just to see if we can actually do an ambient 5.7 32M. That would be pretty nice. And I'm going to start a timer. I think max mem is set. Doesn't always show up in CPU Z. 640. Yeah, Z490 is a different, like I said earlier, current gen platforms, so X570, Z490 is a completely different ball game. There I realized that you have many options to get A2 RAMs working. Actually, the early indications are that A0 is actually kind of unsupported on Z490 in the same way that A2 is largely unsupported on Z370 and Z390. So the tables have turned. Yeah, I could try 600, but my RAM is really loose, so I'm gonna start a timer. Timer, a stopwatch. Let's wait for the initial value to come out. Okay. So let's just have a look at no condensation on the EK fittings there yet. That's good. Loop 1 is out. Okay, this is nice. I mean, I don't expect. Let's actually move the bench window down so we can see our chat better. Okay, that could be. Yeah, that could be true. But sometimes people do mix up A0 and A2, so yeah, paste those screenshots if you have them. That's interesting. Doing 4700C14 on A0. I mean, again, it's not a hard and fast rule. You know, A0 can, to an extent, do high and loose, and then obviously A2 can do low and tight. 4533. Because I mean the IMCs have gotten better in more recent generations. So what we expected to be the upper limits of A0 on previous gen isn't exactly the case anymore. Battling Kingpin. Kingpin doesn't really do 2D anymore. I'm surprised that he did that. So, talking about MSI, while we wait for that run to finish, talking about MSI ITX boards, I have purchased a Z490 ITX board. So Unify ITX MSI. So this is what I'll be using on the next gen. So here it's a little bit better than that other board I just showed you. Where's our pictures? Gallery. So again, no PS2, but that's no big surprise, but at least we have a clear CMOS button. And it may still support flashback. I'll have to have a look in the specs actually. All of the usual stuff. Dual channel, RAID, DisplayPort, blah 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 blah. Where's the features? So connectors, we've got all the usual. LED. Okay, there's nothing interesting there. Now let's just have a look at the user manual since I'm buying this anyway, or I've already bought it. I just need to pick it up. So yeah, by Wednesday, and I do intend to stream on Wednesday. By Wednesday, I will have this board and a chip. Let's scroll through all the boring stuff. We're on loop 16 already. So it has the debug LEDs, which isn't better than nothing, but still obviously worse than a post display. Dragon Center, which is what Control Center used to be called. So it does have in-OS overclocking support. Oof, it crashed. That's a bit unfortunate. Let's start a new run, and what are we going to change? Should I go over 1.5? Yeah, let's do like, you know what? Let's try out this suggestion from Mr. Dark Gregor. Yeah, Kartar, you did mention that you were doing, is that on A2? You were trying to get A2 working, but there's different PCB versions of A2 as well, isn't there? So back to GTL. Well, first of all, let's have a look at maximum. It is indeed down to 600. And now let's go 57 core and 1.5 V core. Oops, that seems to have crashed. Oh, here we go. It just took a little bit of time to apply. Make sure we don't have any files lying around. This mouse stuff though, I have to figure out a way to get this mouse working like it does on Apex. We can of course try different cores as well. That could be interesting to see what is the strongest core, or at least give some sort of early indication of what is the strongest core. And let's restart our timer. Yeah, so to go along with this MSI ITX, I do have my 4266 bin Galaxies, which I'm going to lend to somebody actually, in terms of A2 memory, and I have some 3600 bin Trident Z Neos on the way as well. Gaming hotkey, all this is bullshit. Special features, yeah, it doesn't seem to have USB flashback. M-Flash. What does that mean? Not that I'd necessarily need it, but without dual BIOS, it's a bit dodgy, isn't it? Does it say anything about a special flashback port here? No, it doesn't. Realtek Audio, who gives a damn there. DMA So I'm excited about this generation launch. It's the first new socket since 2016. Seems sort of like almost like the new architecture, even though I know it's still Lake architecture. What's this Facebook story? Let me vet this. Yeah, but this is on, isn't this on the MOCF? MOCF is known to do, actually I forgot to mention that MOCF seems to be a little bit more tolerant for A2.DIMMs. Here we go, this is the story. Oh no, I need to log in to see it. Can I maybe directly open the picture without logging in? Because this comes from a CDN, so for God's sake. Sorry I can't look at it, but I think it's an MOCF, isn't it? Anyway, back to our MSI board. Ooh, there's a buzzer. Nice. Not that I'm ever going to use that. So the important thing with MSI is they always have, at least on their more overclocking orientated boards, they have up to 2.2 VDIM, whereas the Apexes go to 2 volts DIMM, and then you need either special bias or the LN2 mode. So LN2 mode is doable, so you switch the jumper and then you set the voltages it typically sets for cold bug and cold boot bug back down to standard again, and then you have access to up to 2.23 or something. But MSI is 2.2 out of the box, so that's pretty nice. I think there's a Tech Power Up Unify review. I don't know how they got this out on the 20th of May, but I'm not complaining. Yeah, here we go. So BCLK, it's got BCLK case control, which I think on this platform is pretty standard. But CPU up to 2.1 volts and then DRAM up to 2.2, so that's really nice. We're on loop 18, by the way. This is around the time we crashed last time. Yeah, XP support, of course. Unlikely on MSI. That's okay. I don't intend to really compete for that kind of stuff. I'm more interested in like multi-core globals and stuff. Oh, did you, Doug Gregor, you actually coffee hard modded your Maximus 9? Or is this just a problem? That's one of the things with the new hybrid rules that's kind of annoying. Like clearly this was just a typo, but this submission forever will have Maximus 9 in it because we can't edit anymore. 4933 Air. Cool. So loop 23. Funnily enough, the speed isn't even that bad. I mean, Okay, it is bad, but let's check our volts again. 1.5. Okay, so we have a result. I mean, it's probably absolutely terrible, but 5 minutes 46. So let's check something. So 8700K. Let's have a look at the rankings. My stick's like about 2.05, I think, or thereabouts. So yeah, I'm 10 seconds behind this guy on dice, but 46. So we're talking. So we're kind of in the 5.5 gigahertz range, which isn't terrible. 5.6, 5.5. Oh, what's up with this? Why is this so slow? Jordan, what were you doing here? It's on the same board as well. Windows 10. 2800. This was a comp, so different rules apply there. Okay, I am definitely going to sub this just because it's a nice board. I want to have a sub on this board. I'm starting to get hungry though, so maybe we just quickly switch to the other BIOS and have a look what version is on there. This mouse is driving me completely insane. Okay, X5C. Well, this display resolution is a little bit awkward. Let's overlap the windows, even though that's still all right. For an ambient sub, that's still acceptable. Print screen. Oh, that's right. There's no. Let's just have a quick look to see if we can get USB working actually. All right, I'm trying one of the blue slots. Predictably, no dice. I'm trying the same stack that my mouse is connected to. Is there anything besides Paint that I can could just paste an image into? Oh, damn it. I thought this this image actually had a utility installed on it. No worries, I'll just have to beat it. So I'm writing that down. 5 minutes. Just putting it on a notepad. So that was 5 minutes 46.9 at 57X at 1.5 V core, core 2. So now let's quickly shut down and put a screenshot utility on here. Yeah, I can, for my notes, I can screen grab it from my stream, but for subbing purposes, I'm just going to beat it. I'll grab one or two different capture utilities. So screenshot.exe. I'll just put it straight on the desktop, and sometimes that doesn't work, so hopefully I can find the capture.exe as well. Where's my 2D stick? Let's grab it from there. It's not on there either. All right, let's just quickly mount an image. And grab it from there. I always have it on my desktop anyway. Just trying to mount it from a network drive isn't the fastest. But there we go. It is mounting. Okay. How's our condensation looking? Still no condensation at 14. Please mount. For God's sake. Okay, hopefully screenshot.exe just works, because for some reason it won't let me go into desktop because I don't have permission on the mounted image, which wouldn't be an issue if it were restored onto an SSD, but for some reason mounting it is a problem. Okay, I've switched to BIOS number 2. Let's see what's on there. If it's not X5C, then almost by definition it might be better for memory overclocking. So so let's catch up with chat. Hard to handle A2. So your A2 does what? Oh, do you have a Z390 Dark or something? Or why are you using Elite? So what's our BIOS here? D1. Actually older than the previous one. Okay, let's see if we can whip this BIOS into shape. I'll actually just do nothing except enable XMP. Go to like 3600. And whack in 1.95. Ooh, that does seem to be training. Okay. So let's see. Your A2 will do. Where's the memory tab? There is no memory tab. 4933. Nice. Okay. So please come back screen. So the memory did apply. That's an encouraging sign. Let's call it 32M. And I really didn't do anything different there. It was just a different memory. Trying 3933 at very loose timings. Okay, that's better already. What I'll do is I'll go to 4000 and briefly attempt to tighten it up a bit as well. But if setting timings doesn't go the way I want it to go, then I'm happy to run XMP 4000 and get a better score basically. Okay, that's 4000 applied. Let's just quickly also disable all this jazz. $50 for that, $50 for the core. Normal FCLK, AVX is 0. Turbo boost off. Let's go to the trouble of setting all this crap. 127, 4090, 127, 4090, 127, 4090, 4090, 127. Because you set them once and forget them, so what else can I reasonably... Oh, I need to make sure I have vCore. I can just boot 1.5, I don't care. Adaptive voltage off. Auto. 3 was a good one here. HT off, very important. Speed shift off. All this stuff needs to go off. I didn't even know there was such a thing as C10, but apparently there is. I think that's the basics of what we need. Let's see how we go. Hopefully that didn't throw everything off. Have I done any legacy benching? What current comps are there? Team Cup is coming up, but I'm not really aware of any other comps. Yeah, this bias seems much nicer. Okay, let's save that straight away because that's actually quite nice. And let's just make a small attempt. Ooh. Make sure we use turbo. Just extreme everything. And that I did go to. Ah, this bias doesn't have the 1500 PWM. Just give it a quick reboot. Challenger, yeah, I don't compete in challengers. Points are only for seasonal, so who cares? It's not my focus. Okay, let's quickly apply again. And now let's see if we can tighten to C12, like a very loose C12, but a C12 nonetheless. Oops. What was it again? 65, 550 or something like that. 55, 530. Yeah, okay. Let's see how we go. Not liking that. Okay. Let's try like a C14 or something. What I could actually do as well is auto everything and just CAS. But the other option is just a C14. Sorry, Fluke. It's our destiny as overclockers, mashing the delete button. Okay, let's hardwire. I mean, there were various attempts over the years to allow you to enter BIOS directly from a switched off system with a direct to BIOS button. And I do have some boards that actually do have a direct to BIOS button, but it's just not really available on most boards, so I sort of forget about it. But it is a handy feature to have. ASRock actually have sort of something similar to that, where they have like a batch file, a Windows batch file where you can go direct to BIOS from Windows, which is nice. Like that feature on VMs. Yeah, not really sure what you're talking about, but yeah, that sounds like it would be similar. Okay, let's just double check that our voltage is still happy. Okay. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll go from normal to enhanced stability, and I'll see if I can just apply CAS 12 on its own like this. After that, I'll go CAS 14. Yeah, I think what may be happening here is one more attempt. No, I think the auto is just all over the place on this board. So what I'll have to do is I'll just have to spend the time to build a fully manual profile, not today, but just in general for this board, which I don't mind. That's kind of what you need anyway. Let's take this opportunity to switch my Fluke to the memory. Which I can't even see. Okay, predictably it's the second read point down, so that's nice. Yeah, one quick attempt at C14, and then I'm really doing my run. Ideally, I'd want C14 1T, but I suppose the other thing I could do is just like really lose 4133 or something, just for shits and giggles. I suspect this will have the same issues though. Yeah, it's looking like that. Yeah. No, it just won't do manual with all that auto set. Let's try something like 4133 though. Very briefly. Okay. Really need some lunch now. I'm happy though. I've sort of worked out a few things here already, so let's try that. Should be no problem as loose as these sticks currently are. But those could be famous last words. Oh, yep. Yep, we've something going on. Let's just boot straight into Windows if we can. So yeah, this has been a bit of a world first, really, hasn't it? I don't think anyone's ever streamed on this board. Not that there's that many streamers around anyway in the first place. $62. AE. I haven't booted into Windows on this profile yet, so I may still have to set IDE mode or something. Well, that stays on AHCI, but yeah, I need to go legacy here, I think. Yes, they are, but here's a list of streamers that exist. Should be up to date, hopefully. I think I put Bilko in there. Okay, let's just quickly drop this down to see if it's memory related. I try to keep this up to date. So there's, I think it isn't. Wouldn't that be a shame if I had one working BIOS for XP and then one working BIOS for memory overclocking, but not one that does both? It's trying to boot UEFI, which obviously isn't going to work. Of course, yeah. Okay, so this is what we need. And let's save that so we don't run into the same frustrations again. Yeah, UEFI on XP is not a thing. So yeah, so your main ones, I put Bullseye first because he's like the OG, but he doesn't stream very much. For God's sake. Why is that blue screening? Yeah, it's okay, so this is not an XP BIOS. That is pretty fucked, I have to say. Let's see if we can maybe just up the memory frequency a tiny little bit on this profile and then get a tiny, slightly faster run out and screenshot it. 3400. Yeah, you're Darth, you're channeling your inner what was the French guy's name again? Timothée? What the hell? What's his name? Truthman. That's the one. Okay, here's our 3400 run. Let's see how much scaling we get out of 200 memory clock. We have both our channels. We have slightly better. And our screenshot utility works. Drum roll. Okay, I'm getting greedy now. I'm gonna try for 3600. No, it's just not a Windows XP BIOS. The blue screen says that there's it's not ACPI compliant. So okay, 3600 seems to be posting. That's all right. It could be that actually all of the X BIOSes are XP compliant, and all of the regular lettered BIOSes aren't. That's fine. That's, I mean, with dual BIOS, I'm happy to keep a Windows 7 BIOS on the second chip and an XP BIOS on the first chip. That's totally fine. So, do we have all our channels? Glorious. Absolutely glorious. We're actually gonna get a run together, guys. How good is this? And let's be super greedy and let's try a run with 54 on core as well. Now that's really pushing it, but there we go. 54 on core, 57 regular cores. How good is a 5.7 chip on this crap paste? I'm impressed. Okay, so run. Fair enough. Probably on core. Oops. Hello? Okay, I'm doing backspace. Let's reboot and try 53 on core. On Haswell especially, changing core and on core at the same time causes crashes, so I've gotten into the habit of changing them separately. Yeah, 53 for 32M is a more realistic on core. 53, 52 I would say is good. Anything less than that is starting to get into, I mean, anything over 50 is good, but knowing what this chip can do for legacy 3D, Still not exact. Okay. It's always that one last run that's difficult, isn't it? Give me a few loops at least to tell me that I'm going in the right direction. Well, this time it insta-crashed instead of giving me a not exact. That tells me something about the behavior is changing. Down to 51. Thanks for checking in, Doc Gregor. And thanks for your help. Good night. Stay safe. What is going on here? Back down to 50 encore then. It's the combination of being at the limit of the chip and the high encore. I think that's potentially the issue. Hopefully it's not complaining about memory. That would be insane. Memory is so incredibly loose. Please give me a loop. Neither. Board. It's a new board. I already know that I'm on a bias that is really bad for memory overclocking. So I'm definitely not testing the sticks. The CPU, I already got a, I don't know, maybe you weren't there earlier on. You see exclamation mark RIG rig will always tell you the hardware. The chip the chip I already know will pass 5.7 gigahertz, so I'm not really testing the chip anymore, but I have a Fluke hooked up, so I'm testing the different LLCs on the board. I'm getting familiar with everything because I just picked up this board 2 days ago, so please apply. There we go. I'll just keep these open and see if I can get a loop out of it at this lower RAM speed. Oops. Is that a hang? Ah, I think I'm not at 1.5 vCore. The CPU is pretty good on LN2. It's not going to break any 8700K records, but it did, again, only one LN2 session, but it very easily full potted without messing around with DMI voltage too much. And it did 7 gigahertz legacy 3D very reliably. I think I can probably get 7.1 out of it. And for 32M, yeah, maybe 7.1, 7.15 as well. So for your standards, Phil, probably not amazing, but for my standards, my previous best 3D chip was a 9700K, and it could only do 6.95, and also harder to handle on LN2 with a cold boot bug I couldn't get rid of. So let's go back to 3600 RAM, because that was not the issue. Sorry, Stavros. Sorry, you share HarborBot accounts, so it's hard to keep track. Yeah, so this chip is for like 4-way 3D, because 4-way is unsupported on LGA 1200, and for 6-core globals, which we're not really sure about yet if the 10600K is going to be better. Okay, let's try 5.4 again. So Stavros, what happened to your mate Sophos? Has he retired? He used to be a big Gigabyte bencher, and this is a Gigabyte ES board, so he would probably appreciate this, but I haven't seen him do anything since like original Skylake X. No, he's not retired. Come on, give me an initial value. There we go. He's still at Giga, but what does he do? High Cookie does all the benching. Is he just like some sort of marketing guy now or something? How do I like the Gigabyte BIOS? Look, I have a ton of familiarity with Asus, but that's not to say that I don't like the Gigabyte BIOS. The only complaint I have with some of the lower end boards, you have dual BIOS, but you don't have a single BIOS switch, and that's really annoying, because then when you're really pushing overclocks, instead of just getting no post or like a post code that will tell you what's wrong, it falls over to the other BIOS like silently, which is just bullshit. But yeah, otherwise I have no complaints about Gigabyte BIOS. Yeah, this board has 2 BIOS switches, 1 to 4 single BIOS and 1 to toggle between the 2 different BIOSes. So the only thing better than that you get really is the triple BIOS that EVGA has. And to be honest, as overkill as triple BIOS seems sometimes, I can see some situations where you could use it, because let's say on the Asus boards where you need a special BIOS just to get XP support, what if you want to test 2 different XP BIOSes against each other? yet you don't want, okay, that's a fail. Yet you don't want to get rid of your Windows 7 BIOS. Maybe pushing the Encore a little bit too much. Let's try 53. Yeah, well, that's all on the new boards, right? If not convergent, like you've got to remember, I bench everything. I bench older platforms as well, so everything from the Rex onwards, I have Asus boards for. So yeah, on the most recent $800 or $1,000 board, it's easy. But what about the 15 boards that came before it? I'm also really interested in those. What's a good ambient cache? I'm starting to sort of doubt myself. Maybe I am trying way too high cache for 32M stability. Yeah, I'm aware. I have a Rampage 6 Apex, Maximus 9 and 10 Apex, and that's true. Every time you switch BIOS, you get that weird IROG update thing, which you don't on Gigabyte and you don't on EVGA. Actually, it'll be interesting to see how the Dark does on the new platform, because it was a really late addition to the Z390 lineup, and it wasn't in front of people's minds either, because everyone just thinks Apex, and especially for a mid-platform update like Z390 was, I think it just didn't sell well enough, and it was just a little bit too late to the game, right? But now we have a new platform and a new socket coming out and a Dark. But the thing there is, you know, EVGA is a small manufacturer. Will they actually have retail Darks out in quantities, you know, within the next month or two? If they go later than that, that's already a fail in a way, you know. Okay, another talking about fails. Okay, let's go back down to 50 cache. I don't want 100 million fails here. Oh god, this mouse. What am I gonna do? Let's give it a reboot. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm fully aware that XP biases work on Windows 7 fine. That's what I do too. But let's say for the Apex 10, which is now no longer a current gen board, The support, you know, I don't want to. I mean, I know some benches do this and stuff, but from my point of view, I just want someone to upload an XP BIOS and for me to download it and flash it and use it. So in that sense, there's for the Apex 10, there's only like 2 or 3 public BIOSes, whereas there's still releases coming out for Windows 7 BIOSes. So there's always the potential for there to be a better Windows 7 BIOS than an XP BIOS, and that already means you're occupying 2 BIOS positions. And let's face it, a 3-way switch and an extra BIOS chip are not that expensive. For a $1,000 board, I would be in favor of it. But maybe I'm the only one. Yeah, I realize that EVJ is a small manufacturer and they have all the issues that are associated with that. Yeah. Need to kill my Explorer. And restart my timer. Z390 XP to Z370. So you're saying an image, a Z390 XP image should work on a non-XP BIOS on Z370? I don't have Z390. I don't have an Apex 11. I have Apex 9 and 10. And now there's, yeah, image. Okay. Yeah, maybe I can get an image from somewhere else and see how that works. That's an interesting idea. I didn't know that existed. That really opens up opportunities. I know by now on the Apex 9 actually, or maybe it was like this from launch, but what I was surprised by was that the Apex 9 doesn't need a special BIOS. So the Apex 9, you can run the latest BIOS. Okay, let's stop screwing around and give it a little bit more vCore. Yeah, I'll give that a try. That's interesting. Since I need XP for 3D as well and all that stuff, it's always nice to have a cleaner setup. So do you have, Stavros, do you have Z490 in the house already? Are you testing? I haven't seen any subs, but I haven't really been keeping up completely. Let's check our Fluke. It's reading 1.801. I wasn't aware that I said 1.8. Makes sense on this. I thought I was setting 1.95, but maybe that was on the other BIOS. Yeah, of course you do. Well, I have it too. I mean, I'm very close to getting it. Just need a board. So that'll be exciting. I haven't really participated in a product launch as much as I'm planning to do now since 2nd Gen Ryzen. So it'll be fun. CPUs aren't that good. Yeah, You obviously haven't sucked up to Intel enough, or a board vendor of some kind like Asus. The XP mods were made to modernize the OS. XP mods on the... Yeah, I don't really understand. So the XP modded BIOS, you mean? Okay, so higher vCore was the fix. If this passes, I will do one more run at 54x. If it fails, gotta go offline on the OS. Yeah, I'm really not that well versed with these. I don't really look into this. I'm just a bencher. I'm not particularly good at hard mods, or anything like that. Really, my abilities lie mostly in just benching. So I download images that are pre-stripped and stuff. I mean, for 7 and 10 and Server 2012, I do strip my own images, but for XP, I don't know. I have no interest in investing time into enlighting some images and stuff. 6.88 multi-core. It's not bad. Yeah, Zeus always have the best chips. Yeah, that's why I use the Barbona image. It doesn't tend to boot clean, like it blue screens on a lot of motherboards, but that's kind of one of the things that I'm doing. I'm kind of like binning motherboards to see which one will boot straight away on the Barbona image, and then I just start using that for 32M because it's got everything you need. Yeah, ASRock. Alan is a very determined bencher though. Asus, SafeDisk is good now, but he's new to... This is his first launch with Asus. Previously, when it was Roberto Orsanino, Roman, Elmore, I don't want to say that they've phoned it in, but their level of effort is good. But Alan is always a step above that. But now with SafeDisk employed by Asus, they're tearing through records. But interesting that they also took the time to take the memory frequency world record this time. Yeah, this is the wanted one. Yeah, it does work with older hardware for sure. There's certain boards, AM3 and stuff, where I've just had issues with it booting. I'm sure there's some way of resolving those issues, but please don't crash now. I'm not aware of a Z170 versus Z270 split. If you can link those. I just know the XP64 3D Mark 01 image. So our last run was 5 minutes 46.9. So now we have a 5 minutes 42 run. Let's just have a quick look to see how that places us. I know it's going to be terrible, but just curious to see. Five minutes 42. Yeah, getting better. So now let's see if we can encore a bit more. Also will be interesting to see the scaling or lack thereof. No, I am a fan of Waza, but considering that I'm running 3600 C19, oh sorry, 1922 760 2T RAM, Waza is the least of my worries. So yeah, I don't know if you were there earlier, Phil, but Stavros, I mean, damn it. But I obviously this board is ES, so you can just go to a product page to download the BIOSes. And I just got this board with just 2 BIOSes on it. So we've got one BIOS which isn't XP compliant. It won't boot this image. And this is the other BIOS. And this BIOS has some sort of huge memory training issue. When I try to set any timings manually, it just doesn't train the memory. And looking at the submissions that are on HardwareBot, nobody is actually using this X5C BIOS, but it's all I've got right now. I've contacted some people who also have this board and it's quite an old BIOS. So this board got BIOS updates until at least the end of 2018 because of the 9900K launch. This is a October 2017 BIOS. So I just need a newer BIOS with XP support, and potentially I need to set all the timings manually as well. So that's why the best I could set for right now, I literally just got this board, I'm still getting familiar with it, was 3600 C19. So that's why I'm also not bothering with Waza. But it is good to figure out as I'm just checking my voltage again, 1.8 flat, that's good. It is good to check out the encore and core limits. Yeah, I will now that you say that's possible. That's really exciting actually, because doesn't that mean that basically there's going to be XP support forever now on Intel mainstream? If you don't need an ACPI, HCI, whatever it's called, compliant BIOS. It's pretty exciting stuff. Sweet. Okay, that's a fail. I'm going to end the stream. I'm really hungry. Thanks all for hanging out with me. There will be another stream on Wednesday as my voice is going. There'll be another stream on Wednesday and it'll be on LGA 1200. See you all. Until next time.